question 5, you're asked to finish off some deseasonalising of data. Now, the reason we deseasonalise data is to smooth it and also keep the data in a format where we can go from the deseasonalised back to the raw data. We hear quite often terms of seasonal trends, etc. In order for us to make predictions, we need to deseasonalise the data and then extrapolate it. Even though the extrapolations might be a little bit dodgy, we can still draw some conclusions on the data. We can say, for instance, which of these months I've performed. Now that dark line is a deseasonalised. You can see that events for February, March and April are quite high. We can see that for the October I'm circling there, pretty similar. So we can see, or perhaps look at occasions that outperform and perhaps underperform. We've got some gaps to complete. Now, whilst this is quite comprehensive data, we tend to need to be able to fill in gaps in tests, etc. So working that through, we find we get an average of 42. What I've then got to do, I've got to deseasonalise that information, work out a monthly index for the Octobers. So what I do in that instance, I get the October, that figure there, and 40 divided by the 38.75, and that will give me an index for that year of 1.031. Continuing the process, I'll find 0.9989, 1.429, 1.153 as the average. So what we've done there, we've divided the October figures by the average figure there. Draw a line across, and these monthly indexes will take into account the averages from the 3 years and enable me to deseasonalise the data for the last July through August of the 3rd year in question. So doing that in order and a little bit of rounding, the July figure for year 3 would be 79 divided by the 2.016. So to no decimal places, I'll get 39, 41, 41, 52, 45, and 40. I can then put that data onto the graph. Now I'll just pause and do that. It's a little bit fiddly, but that way I can look at the trend and perhaps identify better if there is indeed an overall trend. So plotting that deseasonalised data with the darker line, you can start seeing some trends. There is only a very slight upwards trend, if at all, but we're starting to see some patterning. So which month had the greatest occupancy number of actual terms rented or occupied? You can see here that the August in the last year, 87, or 3rd year, sorry, seems to fit the bill. Which room had the greatest room occupancy in deseasonalised terms? So what we're looking at there is that October in year 3. Now what that means is once we've stripped out seasonal effects, that particular month gave us the best room occupancy in terms of the deseasonalised. It could have been that maybe there was snow later in the year, perhaps even a public holiday was involved.